Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to my reading corner. This is going to be my January TBR. After getting all the books over here, I feel like it's going to be quite a ambitious TBR, but there are some caveats in here that I feel like are understandably why I think I've got a chance of getting to most of the stuff that's on here. I'm just moving a few things about. So I'm just going to get into this because, like I say, I've got a stack of books to go through. The first book I plan on starting this year, I have a couple I've got quite a few I plan on starting on the tomorrow on the first of the year. So the first one is Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. This is one of my favourite books. This is usually the one I start. This is usually my first of the year read, so I'm going to be starting that tomorrow. It says, in a frolic of cartoon and comic outbursts against rule and reason, a miraculous weaving of science fiction, memoir, parable, fairy tale and farce, Kurt Vonnegut attacks the whole spectrum of American society, releasing some of his best-loved literary creations onto the scene. So yeah, like I said, I've read that a few times. It's getting a bit battered now, but yeah, it's always my first read of the year, and I've decided to carry on with that tradition this year. Oops, nearly dropped that. Moving on, they need to be together. So next, I've got Clive Barker's Volume 4 to 6, his second volume of Books of Blood. The reason I've picked this is to start in January is just so I can get through it by the end of the year. Like I'm not planning on reading this in this month, so I may read one or two stories. I'll see how much I read of it, but I'm just planning on dipping my toe into it. Like I thought, if I read, I think there's like more or less a story a month, but I want to try and read it a bit faster than that. So we'll see how we get on with that anyway. But that's Books of Blood. Just short stories by Clive Barker. It's the only second Clive Barker book. I read his volume 1 of these, which is 1 to 3, which was really good. I found this one first, so I ended up getting that one so I could read this one. So I'll be just starting that this month. And then I'm going to show... So I've got my Bukowski reads I'm still working through. Hot Water Music is the first one of the year by Charles Bukowski. This is just... Oh, that's my bookmark my son got me. It was cute. I'll tell you that story in a minute. So, yeah, Hot Water Music is what I plan on starting the first of the month. I'm not sure how many stories are in this. I'm not going to count them now, but like I say, I'm carrying on with Bukowski. I'm not sure what's after Hot Water Music. I've got a couple... Wait, I'm not sure what's after Hot Water Music or in the next, but I have a couple of chapbooks that are both illustrated by R. Crumb. I think it's Robert Crumb. So I plan on reading those. They're only like thin. So I thought, well, I think Bring Me Your Love is next, or There's No Bit. I can't remember which one it is, but there's one of them's next. So I'll read both because I just think they're so thin. But so far, the only two books that will go on my TBR, my 200 book challenge is those two, because I've read everything else so far that I've talked about. So yeah, this bookmark my son got me. We went... I can't remember where we went to now. I think we went to a park in Chorley, and there was like a little art gallery or something, and you could do arts and craft, and he made me a card, and he got me this bookmark. So I thought, why not use it? I don't usually use bookmarks. I did get a really nice one, and when he was younger he crunched it up, and so then since then I just remember what page I'm on. Unless it's like short stories and then I want to remember that I've not read where I'm up to, or comic books as well, I do the same. So when with a comic book, if you flip forward, or you know, you might see a spoiler. I'm also doing a buddy read this month with Bob Can Read. We're reading Solarium by Braden Matthew. This is a thick book, but this will go on my 200 books to read before the end of the, well, not before the end of the year, but before I buy any more. Bibbers and Mutes, Reclusive Philosophy, student with compulsive addiction to reading, hiding from society in an underground apartment. Bibb scribbles his bizarre dreams that happen to coincide with the sudden disappearance of those around him. Gradually, Bibb is forced out of his underworld to investigate an absent civilization, one where only the poor and social outcasts run free, where the city has reverted to an anarchic, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's like anarchy, but anarchy, I can never say it. State of nature, flipping between Bibb's scribbled dream diaries and the novelised collapse of the modern world as told in footnotes by the Society of Bibliophiles. Solarium creates an atmosphere that seeks to bend the mind in the search for the body. The world of Solarium depicts a degenerative society with themes of racial guilt, sexuality and trauma. As Bibb seeks to understand his condition, he looks to the past, while on the surface, Solarium depicts a story about a passive and manic academic. It lying beneath is a passionate confession of shame, guilt and desire. So that sounds brilliant. So I'm reading that with Bob Can Read. We're looking at 30 to 40 pages a day. So I'll probably start off something I've read before, or a bit of Bukowski and Breakfast Champions and then that. But yeah, I'll be starting that as well tomorrow. And then for my authors 25 and 25, for the first month I picked Kurt Vonnegut. So I'm going to read Cat's Cradle. I've never read Cat's Cradle before, so again this will be a book off my 200 books to read before I buy any more. Dr. Felix Onnicka, I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, one of the founding fathers of the atomic bomb, has left a deadly legacy to the world, for he is the inventor of Ice-9, a lethal chemical capable of freezing the entire planet. The search for its whereabouts leads to Onnicka's, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, 3 eccentric children to a crazed dictator in the Caribbean to madness. Will Felix Onnicka's death wish come true? Will his last fatal gift to humankind bring about the end that for all of us is nigh? Told with deadpan humour and bitter irony, Kurt Vonnegut's cult tale of global apocalypse preys on our deepest fears of witnessing the end, and worse still, surviving it. So I've never read Cat's Cradle. I've only read Mother Night, Breakfast of Champions and Slaughterhouse 5, and I want to read the rest. Because I do have his, I think Mark Lees did the Encyclopedia of Vonnegut, so I want to read that. But I want to read everything by Vonnegut first. So that's interesting. And then my second author I picked up is George Louis Borges. This is Labyrinth. Now, I've heard a few times on Life on Books mention this author, and it was an author I wanted to read for a while anyway, and I had this for a while, so I was like, well, I've decided to read this. This is, I'm not sure what this contains. So it contains short stories, essays and parables, it says. So yeah. But I'll say what it says on the back. George Louis Borges, I think that's pronounced right, I'm not sure, was a literary spellbinder whose gripping tales of magic, mystery and murder are shot through with deep philosophical paradoxes. This collection brings together many of his stories, including the celebrated The Library of Babel, The Garden of Forking Paths, Funes the Memorous, and Pierre Menard, author of The Quixote. I think that's pronounced right, I'm not sure. In later life, dogged by increasing blindness, Borges used essays and brief tantalising parables to explore the enigmas of time, identity and imagination. Playful and disturbing, scholarly and seductive, his is a haunting and utterly distinctive voice. So that sounds really good. I think he's... Let me see, I think, if I'm right, yeah, so he's Argentinian. So I've got... I'm not sure where Braden Matthew... I think it was Braden Matthew, wasn't it? Yeah, Braden Matthew. I'm not sure where he's from. Yeah, so he's a Canadian. So we've got a Canadian, an Argentinian, and also Kurt Vonnegut's American. So I'm just getting a drink before I carry on with the books. We'll have a couple of beers later when I get chilling out. So this next book is one off my second-hand TBR. I picked at random The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this book, or I don't know anything about this book, to be honest with you. So I'm looking for... I've wanted to read it for a while, like I say. In the last video, I wanted the cover. I wanted that cover. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, which way do I go? I'm going to go with library books first. Because I'm not... There's one I'm not sure about. I don't know if I'm going to read it or not. So this is one I'm definitely going to read. This is one I wanted to read after when I finished the first novel in the series. This is The Restaurant of Lost Recipes by Isashi Kashiwa. I'm not sure. My pronunciation's not brilliant at the best of times, but this is a really cosy series about people wanting to find recipes they've not had for years. Like, I don't know, I remember years ago being at my grandma's and having stew and dumplings. Them dumplings tasted amazing. You know, I'd love to go back and have that, just for, for a... Yeah, it's something that stuck with me. So that would be something like I would pick. But it's just really good. It's just really cosy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. This is another one I'm definitely planning on getting to. This is Raymond Chandler's Marlowe. I was going to try and read it this before the end of the year, and I just thought, do you know what? Why rush it? There's only 3 stories in here, so I'll probably maybe read a novel or something and then pick this up. But yeah, it's like black and white. Sorry, excuse me. It's mainly black and white, but there is some colour pages as well. But I kind of like stark black and white, to be honest with you. I just think, I don't know, it focuses more on the story a bit more. I know comic books are about the art, but I just think the starkness of black and white sometimes is quite good. This is a book I'm not sure about. I was planning on trying to find a review while I was at work today, but I didn't. I was listening to James and the Giant Peach. So this is Empire of Pain, The Secret History of the Secular Dynasty. When I did have a quick research, and the story sounds quite interesting. But with everything else I've got to read, I've got to get this back by the 11th of January. So I'd have to make this priority, and I'm not sure I want to read it enough to make it priority over like Breakfast Champions or Slurium or Cat's Cradle or Labyrinths. I think, or Hot Water Music. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The first chapter's not too bad. It's only like 9 pages, so I could start it and see how I feel about it. But it's a maybe. That one's a maybe. Okay. And then I've got some manga and then some comic books, and then we're done. So I wanted to reread Death Note, so I could actually watch. I've got the series on DVD, but I've never watched it. So I've decided I want to read it again. I've read it before. But I'm going to read, this is the Black Edition sold as Volume 1 and 2. So I'm going to read 1 this month, 2 next month, and then there's only 12, so I'm going to basically read half a book a month, basically, of these Black Editions. So it's quite an interesting book. I'm going to tell you what it's about. Like Yagami, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, is an ace student with great prospects, and he's bored out of his mind. But all that changes when he finds the Death Note, a notebook dropped by a rogue Shinigami, death god. Any human whose name is written in the notebook dies, and now Light has vowed to use the power of the Death Note to rid the world of evil. Will Light's noble goal succeed, or will the Death Note turn him into the very thing he fights against? So that sounds really good. So I'm looking forward to reading these again. And then, I think all the mangas are rereads, actually. Yeah. Well, everything I've got here now is rereads, actually. So I've decided I want to make a concerted effort to read more manga this year. So I'm going to start, I've read this before, but I plan on really getting back into Golden Kamuy and actually reading one a month at least. Maybe more if I really get into the series. This is a really good series, really interesting, what I've read of it so far. In the early 20th century, Russo-Japanese war veteran Sachi Emotional Sugimoto scratches out a meagre existence during the post-war gold rush on the wild frontier of Hokkaido, when he stumbles across a map to a fortune in hidden Anu gold. He sets off on a treacherous quest to find it, but Sugimoto is not the only interested party, and everyone who knows about the gold will kill to possess it. Faced with the harsh conditions of the northern wilderness, ruthless criminals and rogue Japanese soldiers, Sugimoto will need all his skills and luck and the help of an Anu girl named Usurper to survive. So it's really good. There's like fight scenes and food in this, and it's a really good series. It's, if you're into manga or you're not into manga, I'd highly recommend it. I'm not sure how many volumes it runs to. This next one I've got is one I didn't realise when I bought it there's only 3 volumes to the series. I bought the first 2 because it didn't have the Golden Kamuy I wanted. But if I'd have realised, I'd have probably bought all 3. So now I'm looking for a 3rd volume. I got this because of the film Chef. If anybody's seen the film Chef, it's about a guy who works in a restaurant and then he ends up having a food truck. So that's why I fancied this. And I didn't know it was only 3 volumes. So this is Crazy Food Truck Manga Volume 1. This one's by Rokyoro Ogaka. I'm not sure if my pronunciations aren't brilliant. Gordon is a gruff, middle-aged cook running a food truck in a sand-covered wasteland when he encounters Arissa, a naked girl sleeping in the middle of nowhere. He takes on the unintended travelling companion and her unexpected appetite. Too bad she also has unexpected baggage, an armed militia hot on her tail. Fasten your seatbelts for a post-apocalyptic cooking and violent mayhem on this crazy food truck road trip. So like I say, it's only 3 volumes. I've got the first 2, so I literally need to get one more, but I'm planning on reading one a month, so I'll have to pick that up, and then probably pick some more Golden Kamuy up as I go. Right, I've got 4 comic books left now. I'm going to try and whistle through these quite quickly, because I don't want to... No, it's 20 minutes already, so... This is Frank Miller's Sin City. I read this last year and only just finished it, but I really wanted to read it again. This again is black and white mostly for the most part, apart from, you know, the occasional splash of colour like that. I'm reading this not in number order, but like storyline order or chronologically. That's how I meant. So yeah, I'm starting off with this one. So I'm not sure I'm reading these mangas or comic books. I just plan on seeing what I fancy when I fancy it. Yeah, when I've got. But I'm trying. Last year I felt like I had loads of books on the go at the same time. I'm going to try and not do that this year. I want to try and... I will have for some, like... I will have in some aspects, like when I start Hot Water Musical, I'll probably read that over the month. Same with Clive Barker. But if I'm reading a book, I'm going to have like a book I'm focused on and finish, and then a book I'm focused on and then finish, rather than having loads of books like outstanding like I have now. I also plan on reading Batman by Frank Miller, Batman Year One. Batman is probably my favourite comic book superhero. Yeah, plan on reading a lot of Batman this year. So that's what I plan on starting with. Also, my favourite comic book artist is Jeff Lemire. So I've decided to reread Sweet Tooth. I think this is my 3rd time reading this series now. It's really good. I prefer the independent comic books to like superhero ones. Although I mean I've got Batman, and my next one's going to be a superhero one as well. But this is more to do with the villain than it is actually to do with the hero in this comic book, and that's The Amazing Spider-Man: Kraven's Last Hunt. So yeah, I just wanted to try and pick up some comic books this year that I've possibly read. I mean, I've got quite a few there behind me. You know, like I picked out a few that I want to read like this year that I have read before, but just fancied rereading. My pile's going to fall over. So yeah, so that's my comic books. I'll just quickly run through everything again since, you know, Sin City by Frank Miller, Batman by Frank Miller, well, Batman Year One by Frank Miller, Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire, Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt, Crazy Food Truck Manga Volume 1, oh, got it right in the end, Golden Kamuy Volume 1, Death Note Volume 1, not Volume 1 of the Black Editions, but just the actual Volume 1, one volume of that. That's a Maybe, The Empire of Pain, Raymond Chandler's Marlowe. I plan on reading maybe like one after every time I finish a story, or I might just read it tomorrow, I don't know yet, see what I fancy tomorrow. The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Solarium by Braden Matthew, Hot Water Music by Bukowski, There's No Business by Bukowski, Bring Me Your Love by Bukowski, Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. Probably start with that first, to be fair. Probably start with that first, to be fair. Labyrinth by George Louis Borges. I probably will maybe read a story in that as well. Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Clive Barker, Books of Blood. So I've realised that I've actually got a Canadian author, an English author, or a British author, depending. He's from Liverpool, which is down the road from me. My dad's from Liverpool. So yeah, an American author. I'm not sure where J.D. Salinger is from, but I'm presuming American. That's Japanese, and I've got manga that's Japanese, and then Jeff Lemire is also Canadian. So yeah, I've got, and then, quite a few interesting authors really. So that's quite a stack this month. Like I say, I'm not going to put too much pressure on getting through everything. And like I say, with the Clive Barker, I probably will dip my toe into it. Same with Hot Water Music. It might be the book I have on my break at work. But I am definitely going to start off with at least read some of Breakfast of Champions before I read that Solarium tomorrow. But I will be starting that. But yeah, I'll probably do a video Friday seeing what I've actually read and stuff. I'm reading Salt Slow at the minute. I have, let me see, I think I've got about 6 pages of one story and then one final story, so I'm hoping to finish that, and then Tinkers tonight as well with a beer. And then Cruelty I want to try and get to read as well, but I might read some of that tomorrow to get me on that. And then Noam Chomsky I'm just going to carry over because it's going to go to my goal, my 200 book goal anyway, so that'll be that. But when I start doing that 200 book goal, so say for argument's sake, alright, okay, so for argument's sake, say these 1, 2, that's worked out quite well, that's 5 books. So then I'd say, right, okay, I'm going to get rid of that, I'm going to keep that, say, or whatever. So I plan on basically trying to get rid of some books as I'm going, but to be honest with you, I don't actually see myself getting rid of any of those, because Clive Barker, I really enjoyed the first book and I want to reread it. That I feel like I want to reread. That I think I want to reread. That I will. And I'm not going to part with Kurt Vonnegut, so I think out of those 5, I think I'm going to end up keeping all 5. So that's that. I'll see where I'm up to on Friday. I'll catch up with the Friday reads on Friday to let you know where I'm up to with all these. Like I say, it's quite ambitious, but I don't know, I'm enjoying reading so much at the minute, and every chance I get, if I can pick a book up, I am doing. So, I mean, I managed to read 151 books, 52, 50, probably about 155 by the time I finished listening to James and the Giant Peach, by the time I finished Salt Slow, Cruelty, well, not Cruelty, Tinkers, Salt Slow, James and the Giant Peach. Oh, I think it'll be 155 anyway this year, but I'm aiming for 200 next year, which, I mean, 200 is a lot, and I don't know, I was watching a video and they were talking about reading goals. When I set one, it's like 100, I want to read 100 books this year, but it's off the cuff. It's never like, oh yeah, if I'm going to start reading short stuff. Like, I don't pick comic books because to get my Goodreads goal up, it's just I fancy reading, Crazy Food Truck, and I want to reread Death Note, and I want to reread Golden Kamuy because I was really enjoying it. And I want to read some other mangas that I've got, and I want to read light novels I've got as well. Like I picked out on the second-hand TBR, and so it's not necessarily, to me. It was just more. Oh, he said 200 books before I buy any more. Let's just have my goal as 200 then, But I'm just gonna enjoy each book as I read them, and I'm not gonna be so strict to say, oh, I can't read library books or I can't read that. Like I said, I've got that Secular book on there, and I've got that. The Lost Recipe book. The Sackler I'm not sure about yet, but we'll see. But I'll definitely be reading the rest of I'm going to try and read as much as I can of the rest I've picked out. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.